kids, welcome back to RotoTalk.
Bam! Hey kids, welcome back. It is Tuesday. What is it? Tuesday afternoon, evening. Sorry, it's been a long day. So I haven't talked to you in a while. Look, I don't even have my right glass or nothing. But anyway, bam! It's been a long week, and it's only Tuesday. It's a good weekend though. I want to do a special shout out to these guys actually. Aerotech Hobbies, and this isn't a plug. They don't even know who I am, actually. Out of my business travels today, I was up in Akron, Ohio, which is the area where Flight Test is and all those guys, you know. And anyway, I was up there for work reasons, and when I left my customer up there, I needed some bits and bobs that you can, you know, it's just easier to get at a hobby shop. And this brings up a point, you know. So I Googled it. It's a hobby stores near me, and it came up with a couple. And this is one that came up. So I drove over there, and it's this little mom and pop shop. And this guy who was like 7'6" and his, I'm assuming, daughter or some high school girl working there. And I bought a couple little things. It wasn't much, you know, $20 worth of stuff. And so shout out to them. If you guys are in the Northern Ohio area, check out these guys. The thing I was impressed with was the fact that they had everything. They had nitro shit, they had cars, they had trucks, they had planes, they had quads. They had all sorts of cool stuff in there. So a very cool shop. So check them out next time you guys are up there. But this brings me to a point. Very helpful too. They were very nice. They didn't know who the fuck I was. You know, no big deal. And they probably won't see this video, and you know, whatever the case may be. But very helpful, very good customer service, very good. And you know, I walked in there, I'm like, hey, you know, and, oh, how are you? I'm like, oh, okay, you don't know who I am. And I said, yeah, I need this, and whatever for boat stuff. Actually, it wasn't for quads. And I am a hobby shop. I've got so much quad shit, but. Very good customer service. He's like, oh, well, you need anything else? And if you have a problem with this, that, and whatever, let us know. We'll help you out. Thank you, sir. But that brings me to a point. A brother of mine, I did a test, and I told you guys about this in the rant a couple weeks ago. A brother of mine has the Aomway Commanders, which is what I run. And he was getting all this bullshit from their customer service department. And he's like, I want you, JJ, do me a favor. This is my buddy in the UK, Graham. He's like, dude, email them. And I told you guys the whole story. So I emailed him, and I fibbed. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, I pulled a Bardwell and did some bullshit. And they were actually reasonably helpful, and they gave me an RMA number, and they said, you know, send your shit in and we'll fix it. Okay, cool. Well, my brother in the UK, he's had his Aomways for, I think he said 10 or 11 months. And the DVR's goofed up. It doesn't work right or something like that. So he got the runaround by, he sent me the emails. I saw them. This is not hearsay. And the customer service, you know, kind of fucked him around a little bit. And that's when he brought me into it, and this, that, whatever. But anyway, long story longer, they said, well, it sounds like you need a new DVR module. Sounds like a cable company, right? Need a new DVR module, send us $25 US and blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, dude, they're like 10 months old, and they're still under warranty. So they still want to charge him warranty parts, you know, parts that it should still be under warranty. I think that's bullshit. And I've read the emails he's gotten, and maybe they had heard of my channel and they were just being extra nice to me. I don't know, or maybe I got a different guy. I don't think I did. But they should at least say, hey, pay for your shipping. And a lot of places do this with warranty. They'll say, pay the shipping yourself, and so it might cost you $10 there, $10 back, but we'll fix them for free. I can understand, in their defense, them not sending parts out for free, because they don't know who the fuck you are. You might not be able to fix the shit. Who knows, you know? So I get that, because that's not economically viable to do. But most places, and even my company and other companies that I've worked for, they'll say, okay, you know, you pay for shipping and we'll fix it for free and send it back to you. That way, you know, a qualified person's doing it. So I think that's kind of bullshit. But again, this kind of goes back, and I'm trying to help my brother Graham out a little bit. I don't know if Aomway will see this or not. Probably won't make a damn bit of difference. But I said that in the last rant, there's Fat Shark and there's all these other guys out there, and the goggle market's kind of stagnant, really. I mean, you've got a few out there that are worth a shit, and you got all the box people, that make box goggles. But as far as goggles go, you got the Aomways, and you got, fat fish and all chubby fish, I call them, and all this other stuff. And Fat Shark are totally fucking overpriced for what they are, but they are good units, and they have great customer service, from what I've heard. And I've never had to use them myself, even when I have my Fat Sharks. I never had to use them, but so where's that trade-off? In my industry, it's one of those things where they say sales gets the customer, service keeps the customer, right? And that's kind of the same thing, especially if you're investing $300, because even $300 for Aomways or however much they cost, it's still a lot of money. And if they're $100 and customer service fucked you off, okay, whatever. Even then, but $300 is still a chunk of change for most people. So, I think that's kind of bullshit. So Aomway, if you're watching, you need to step up and at least send this guy an RMA form like you sent me and say, hey, send them in, we'll fix them for you. That at least is the right thing to do as far as a service standpoint. But I digress. It's all good. I just got in so much trouble with my wife. My smoking hot wife. We slept like shit last night, and kids, blah, 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 blah. And my 5-year-old daughter is starting fucking kindergarten tomorrow. And it's really funny because, Erin, my wife, has to get up early and do all this other crap. Because I'm not allowed to do anything with the kids unless I'm playing with them. That's it. That's all I'm allowed to do. And so she'll get up early. She'll take them to school, and I'll watch the little one maybe, while she does that. But so I was giving her a little bit of shit. And I was rinsing out this little bottle in the kitchen sink, right? And I'm a typical guy. So, I take this tiny little bit of fucking water, like this thing here, this little ice cube in my RotoTwister. I can take that ice cube and flood the entire fucking house with it. I guarantee it. And she's OCD. She will bitch at me. You make such a fucking mess and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm basically rinsing out this little, it's kind of like an epoxy bottle, a little bottle. And I wanted to use it for something, so I was getting the vape juice out of it because I'm going to put super glue in it. It's a long story. But anyway, so I'm shaking this tiny little bottle, and the shit's going everywhere. And she comes in there nagging at me. She's like, no, you don't have to do the cleaning, and you don't realize how much time it takes, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, baby, you're going to have all sorts of extra time because Ella's going to kindergarten tomorrow. Yeah. So needless to say, I'm out in the garage. So anyway, there's something I want to address again, too, and that is quad addiction. But I think I'm streamlining it now a little bit. And psychology was always one of my past love, minor type things. So it's not necessarily quads as much as it is RC addiction that you really need to worry about, right? You guys know I've built what? Probably more quads than anybody on the fucking internet. I mean, just last winter alone, I think there was like 220 or some crazy number. And I contacted a couple of my friends this week, and I said, hey, I'm liquidating a lot of my inventory of my birds, and I don't fly that much. I really don't. I just don't have time. I got a family and all this other stuff. I build a lot because I build at home. So all my birds are mint, absolutely gorgeous birds, right? So, a few of my friends that I hang out with, I'm like, hey, I'm selling a campfire, I'm selling a mocha, I'm selling a JJ, whatever the fuck, and I sell this stuff and kind of liquidate the wall, and then winter comes and I build more and then liquidate again, that type of thing. So we're all familiar with the quad addiction, which is like crack, right? I mean, seriously, where's that fucking thing? Hang on. I told you guys, you've heard the stories before where I started building GPS quads 4 years ago. That was where I started, and then I got into FPV with those, then I got into the race quad, freestyle quad, and blah, 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 here we are. But for micros and shit, I used to build these. I actually have one left. I have no batteries for it. I can't run it. I don't even have the transmitter. I used to use a radio link for this. I don't even have a transmitter that'll work for it. But this is actually an Eris frame that you buy for like $6. It's brushed motors, little micros. Blackhawk and I used to build these. We raced around my yard with them. They're a fucking blast, right? But it is Omnibus F3 flight controller put in there, 25 milliwatt VTX, the camera, blah, 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 5 trillion RPM, KV, whatever. Anyway, neat little bird. It's a fucking paperweight now because I don't have any batteries that'll take it. But a gateway drug, right? It's like you start building these little, you build this for $100, less than $100. And it's like, okay, then you go into Mocha JJ's and do 100 miles an hour on fit in the palm of your hand, and all this stuff. It's a problem. You new guys that are watching this shit, fucking crack, right? This is marijuana. This is cocaine. I mean, it's just, I'm telling you right now, people lie to you. You get the JJ Roto Geeks and the Bardwells and whoever you watch on YouTube. And did I just put myself in the same category with him? Ooh, hang on. Anyway, you get the UAV Futures and all these guys, and they'll say, I don't have any cheap quads, but we'll just take this quad. All right, and let's just pretend this is a pre-built bird. And it's like, yeah, hey, look, you can build, like UAV Futures, he did a thing like this, like, you can build this bird for $100, and how great is this? You can get into the hobby. That is the biggest crock of shit. Nothing against Stu, but that is the biggest crock of shit. Do not believe any of us that are in the hobby that say, hey, you know what? For $350, you can get some cheapo goggles, box style. You can build or buy a bird, and you can get your transmitter and a battery or two for $300 or whatever the fuck cost it is. That is a lie. People like me and Stu and all these other guys are pushers, right? We're drug dealers because that $300 is going to turn into like 10,000 in 2 years. Even if you don't make that much money, it doesn't matter how much you make, because you know what? It's just like a drug. You find a fucking way. You really do. I'm going to give you a case in point, right? My buddy Motor Mike out in California, we're wheeling and dealing a few months back, and he's like, hey, I heard in one of your videos that you used to be, when you were a kid, a big boat guy. You loved boats, RC boats. I'm like, oh, absolutely loved them. I was neurotic about RC boats when I was a kid. And he goes, well, I've got a Pro Boat Miss Budweiser Nitro. And you guys have seen that. We're doing the JJ's Chop Shop on it. And the finish is 3/4 of the way done. All I got to do is the bottom. And this bitch is going to be done quick. And it's going to be sweet. I'm going to show it to you next week. A couple of my buddies have seen it. Bam. Hydro dipped, painted. Oh, it's bad. But anyway, getting back to the point. He's like, hey, you want this boat? I'll make you a deal, blah, 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 blah. So sure, fine, great. So he sends me this boat, which needs a lot of work, a lot of help. And I'm building it, and I'm working on it, and I'm getting all excited, right? And my neighbor that lives literally right behind me is like, here's my house, here's my deck, right? Here's a wooden fence, and here's my neighbor, right? I mean, like, literally, I can spit and hit his garage. He's into boats and RC cars, which I have no real desire to get into cars. But he's talking about boats and doing all this other stuff. And he gets an electric boat, and he shows me, this is like last summer, and then he goes out and buys this gas boat. And so then what do? I go out last week, well, a week and a half ago, and you guys probably saw the UL-19 video that we did. Blackhawk was flying his poor boy quad above it, and I was doing the maiden down the river here in Ohio. And I think I did a video on the boat itself. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, you guys have probably seen that hydroplane. It's very, very cool. So I bought that boat. Not cheap, but very, very fucking cool. And I was very happy with it. And I said to myself, here's where the addiction comes in. This is where you need the therapist. I'm telling you, watch. It's like, okay, look, here we go. I live out where Jesus lost his fucking sandals, Ohio, right? North of Dayton, Ohio. Aside from the rain coming down and that river in the video, there ain't shit out here for water. By my standards. Where I was born and raised on a lake, and there's like 20 lakes around us. It's like Minnesota type of thing. Fucking tons of water. Great. But out here in Ohio, we have a lot of air, right? So we can fly. But when it comes to boats, like, yeah. Okay, so here I'm thinking, I got my Nitro Miss Budweiser I'm rebuilding, which is going to be super JJ Roto Geek cool. And then I've got that UL-19 Pro Boat, which is really, really cool. We did the maiden last weekend. There's a couple changes I'm going to make. We're going to do some FPV with it at some point. And I even told myself, I said, I'm not going to buy another boat because that's silly. You don't want to have, it's one thing to have 20 quads, but 20 boats, whatever. So lo and behold, what fucking happens? Here comes the addiction, new guys, right? I've got this brand new gorgeous UL-19 Pro boat, hydroplane. I got my Miss Budweiser, which is soon to be Mr. JJ Roto Geek, Nitro Hydro. I go next door to my buddy Dave's, who lives behind me. And he's an older fella. He's retired. And we talk boats once in a while. We talk stuff. And I wanted to show him my new boat. I'm like 3 years old, right? So I go over there with my UL-19. I'm like, Dave, look what I got. Look at this hydro. And he's like, yeah, it's great. Well, he had bought a Pro Boat Rockstar gas boat, like quarter scale. I don't know if that's right. Is that quarter scale? And it's huge. It's like 48 inches long or some crazy shit. And it had a two-stroke engine, like a weed eater engine, which is what I always wanted as a kid, but I couldn't afford one back then. But I knew he bought this thing, and then he rebuilt the engine. He did all this stuff, all these mods, all these upgrades, all these props, new props and all this sort of shit. And I said, dude, how's the boat? How's the boat? And he goes, oh, I gave up on that. Really? And he goes, oh, no, I'm done with it, and it runs great, but I'm going to build a totally different one from scratch because I joined a boat club, and all these guys, you know how it is, your friends are pushers too, right? He's like, well, all my friends are doing these custom builds and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, what do you want for it? Boom, right? I'm like, instantly. And this UL-19 ain't even dry yet from doing the fucking maiden. And he's like, oh, for you? Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I got a hell of a fucking deal on this boat. I absolutely love it. I got it pretty much set up today. I'm waiting for my electric starter to come on Friday. But I'm going to show you new guys. And I'm not, JJ Roto Geek isn't switching over to boats and giving up quads or anything like that. But this is a warning. This is MAD, Mothers Against Drugs or whatever the fuck. I'm trying to show you guys. Now watch this. Watch. Okay? Taking off the phone. New guys, that you think it's not an addiction, look. Okay? There's some quads and there's some drones. GPS drones. Those are all GPS drones, okay? Then I got into planes. Oh, wait, there's a plane. There's a wing. There's a plane. There's a plane. There's a plane. Nah, I guess that's a plane. There's a P-51 Mustang. All right, there's the UL-19 Pro Boat that we got the other day. Now, the one I'm rebuilding is actually in the house. I'm doing the masking job on it. Now I want you to see this new boat and see how bad this fucking addiction is. Okay? That is a big fucking boat. It is huge. It weighs 25 pounds, give or take. It's got a two-stroke 26cc gas engine in it. Not nitro, but gas, like your weed eater. It's absolutely gigantic. So I put the radio in. I got everything set up. I will do a video on this later if you guys want to see it. Now, hang on. Whoop. I know 99% of my population that watches my channel are not boat people. They are quadcopter guys. And I've been kind of going into the wings and the planes and things like that. But if you guys want to see me do a video on that huge Pro Boat Rockstar, I will gladly do an overview video of that and a maiden. And I got my brother Nay gave me a camera like a GoPro, mounting that to the top. But kids, the new guys out there, I'm telling you, it's worse than drugs. It's worse than pussy. It's one of those things where it's like, I've got to have more. Pussy, you start getting that way with women when you're younger, but then once you get older, you realize you can't deal with more than one woman because one nagging at you all day is fucking more than enough, right? But quads and boats and planes and things that you can control, and that's what it boils down to. We're control freaks. It's got to be what it is. It's got to be what it is. I don't know. It's awful. Absolutely awful. So anyway, for those guys that tell you, here's a joint, which in the quad world means, hey, $300 will get you into the hobby. Yeah, no, don't believe. You just saw my garage. I sell 3 or 4, I would say I sell 5 or 6, 7 birds a month, okay? So the shit, and I don't really make a profit on them. I sell them for pretty much what I build them for, and then I just buy new shit, do stuff, videos on it, and I just sell them again. I don't care. It's fun. I have a job. I don't need to build quads for a job. But Yeah, you didn't even see the top shelf with all my micros on it. That's a whole nother devil in itself. $300 is a lie. I'm telling you. Just listen to JJ, okay? But anyway, a couple things. I saw something about the fucking close call with a quad and a helicopter the other day. I didn't even look at it because this is media propaganda. That's crap. Ignore it. A couple things coming up. We've got a 1 or 2 Mocha JJ builds coming up. I'm not going to do 2 build videos on the same bird. I've already done a bunch of Mocha JJ build videos, so it's like, I mean, how many times do you need to see the same shit done? I've got a Mocha Simplex Pro frame coming that we're going to do some cool stuff with. I can't remember what motors I ordered with it. And my buddy down in Kentucky, I am building him a 2.5-inch Tomaquad. Now, that is something I have not done in a while. I went on a spell there, I think it was last summer, where I built tons of, hang on, this style of bird. Little 2.5, this is a Wasp, kinetic aerial, I need to put a new camera in it, but kinetic aerial, DYS 7500 kV motors, go 2 or 3S, fast little bastards, very, very, very fun. And my brother in Kentucky, he's like, hey, JJ, will you build me a, one of these? Not this, but, you know, a little 2.5 job. This I do not consider a micro. A 3-inch Mocha JJ does over 100 miles an hour. I do not consider that a micro. It's a fucking bullet, right? This is what I consider a micro. So, 2.5 inch, whatever else. So, all the parts for his build have already come in. We've got his HGLRC micro stack. We've got his RotoX 1107 7600s. These are badass motors. We got him a Foxier micro arrow. We got him an XM Plus, and we're putting in a VTX 03, and it's going into a Tomaquad Evo frame, if I remember right. I built a bunch of those. They're beautiful little frames. They're like this big. Very cool. I'm going to do a build video on that because I haven't done a micro build in a very long time, and I haven't done a video on one in a really long time. Here's another example. This is actually a Tomaquad frame. I can't remember the damn name of this. My buddy Ted Brock actually built this, and I need to get this back to him. I tuned it in and flew it for him, and it's like, yeah, this is great. It's a unique flying little bird. And I need to send that back to Ted. Sorry about that, brother. But it is still here, still mint. it's coming back to you eventually. But anyway, so that's coming up. And then my other brother down in Arizona and his boys, they're building a, what is that thing? The Cerebus. Oh, fuck, whatever it is. Anyway, I helped him out with what to pick out for it. It's his very first build, and he's doing it as a project with him and his boys. He had a problem with it, so he's like, JJ, help me out. I'm like, okay, fine. So he's going to send it to me. I'm going to do a troubleshooting video on that particular build so he can see what he did wrong, and I can fix it for him and get it back to him. So anyway, we do have some cool stuff coming up. Let me know if you want to see a video on that huge-ass boat. I'm hoping to have it running in the water Saturday. We'll see. So, and then we got JJ's Chop Shop stuff coming up. We're going to do a finish on the boat, you know, the Nitro boat. It's almost done. The finish has taken a very long time because of a lot of masking, a lot of, you know, and all the rebuilding of the hull. And we've got another project coming up on JJ's Chop Shop that is a Nitro plane that my brother gave to me. He's up in northern Ohio. His father that had passed away, he gave me 2 of his old birds, and we're going to get those going again too. So we do have some cool stuff coming up. So let me know if you want to see anything special. Maybe we can do something kind of cool. So anyway, guys, watch The Addiction. Fucking telling you. Take care. Keep shining side up. Bam. Bye.